got to know, Rutledge, what do you think about Mike Leach? Mississippi State pulled off the big upset last week. Is he a championship-level coach? He's been a lot of places, but is he a championship-level coach?
He is a champion's headache, and I take that in the sense of that there's a really good story about when Mike Leach was offensive coordinator for, I believe, Oklahoma, and he had his players drop a fake play script on the field to let them get points and stuff on a half, to which Texas lost that game, but Texas won that game. He drove the coaching staff bonkers. He's an innovative coach. He's hilarious to watch as he talks. He'll say some really weird stuff. He taught a class at Washington State, but I don't see him winning a championship in the sense of that Mike Leach keeps landing in these jobs where he doesn't have all of the championship resources. He needs to be in like a Bama or a Michigan and Michigan, I think, will never hire him. He's not their mold. He needs to be in this big, massive program that already has like a massive budget and a huge athletic facility, so he can just draw up plays and get the talent, because his play scripts and everything he does is built to just make runts look good. Look at Michael Crabtree. Had an amazing game against Texas. Mike Leach wanted him to be ranked. They didn't win the championship that year. Washington State. Gardner Minshew got some NFL attention because of his time at Washington State, but they choked in a game at the end because people figure out his system. So I think Mike Leach is still not in the right job to be a championship-level coach, and I don't know if he ever will be.
Yeah, if he couldn't have pulled off a championship at Texas Tech, even a conference championship, I don't think he's going to pull off a conference champion or a national championship at Mississippi State. He's in the right footprint in the Southeast for sure, but I think Mississippi State on their best years could be like a fringe New Year's Day, Peach Bowl type team. But to do that, both Auburn and Bama have to be down. They would have to at least make the SEC championship game, and that's tough. You're right. A lot of the stars have to align, and Mike Leach is kind of a quote new money coach, and new money coaches don't get hired by old money programs. I mean, Rich Rodriguez, they tried it in Michigan, and he wasn't a Michigan man. Mike Leach probably wouldn't ever fit in Alabama. Maybe he'd fit in at a place like an Oregon. But he's already had his time in the Northwest. So Mike Leach, interesting cat, and has definitely made the SEC a lot more fun, along with Lane Kiffin and coaching personalities. But a championship coach, he is not. So I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, Rutledge, but I think we can move on to halftime hot takes.
I think we move on to halftime hot takes, and this week, as we are football and Connor and I are junkies, and we talk about Miami, we're going to say, what is your playoff for the college football playoff? Who do you have going at it this year? What's your final top four for the year based on what you've seen?
Beautiful, and I'm going to answer this question with no Big Ten or Pac-12 teams, the teams who've already played. So Clemson, they're in there, going to knock Notre Dame out of the playoffs. Clemson will finish undefeated, and which also would knock Miami out. I think Miami is a year away from being at least at this trajectory, from making real noise. But Clemson will overcome. Alabama, they'll probably play looser on the road this year because of the less fans on the road. So they'll have some less hostile environments to go into. And I think that will ultimately play into Alabama's favor, as they will be that team that takes on the persona of Nick Saban, which is one of just a completely controlling every element and aspect of the game all the way to winning. I do think, however, there will be a one-loss team if no Big Ten or Pac-12 teams make it, and that'd be the winner of Florida-Georgia. This pains me to say it, and this is going to be recorded forever. Can't believe I'm going to say this. I'll pick the Gators because they're led by a less emotional coach. Yet again, this is not the season for emotions. This is the season to overcome emotional things. And I just think Florida's got a little bit more of a steady hand than the Kirby Smart, although I love Kirby Smart. But I think that winner of Florida-Georgia is a de facto playoff game. And then finally, an undefeated UCF. So, UCF's going to run the table. This is the year of mayhem, hijinks, chaos, and the College Football Committee says, okay, UCF, here's your shot. So, Clemson, Bama, the winner of Florida, Georgia, I'm going Florida, and an undefeated UCF squad.
Okay, Clemson, Bama, Florida, Georgia, and UCF at number 4. I'm
taking Florida. So Clemson, Bama, Florida, and UCF.
Okay, we're not too far, but I'm going to go a little different on you. I agree with you. I agree that I will not take a Pac-12 or a Big Ten school, because the Pac-12 and the Big Ten are like the people that just show up to the party after the party's been moving. Like, college football is here. We're watching it. I think the last line to come in was the SEC. But for them to start and have this weird later season, I know it's going to be colder for them and weather, but you had your shot. And when we said we were playing. And now you're trying to come late, but you're not going to be part of the cool kids club. I believe that Clemson runs the table. Like I said, October 10th is going to be huge, and that ACC championship game in December is going to be huge. But I don't see anyone sort of upsetting Clemson. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to build himself some good draft stock. Bama will come in at number 2. I think they run through. I think Auburn's just going to get better, so that game is going to be a bigger deal. I think the SEC has so much high profile, especially in the West, that it'll just be a big build for them. My number 3 is I'm going Texas. So October 10th, I mentioned October 10th. Texas is starting to look in good form. They've been trying to flirt with making some moves. They're starting to do some stuff. I think Texas gets through Oklahoma. I believe, like we've talked about, once again, I never believe in Oklahoma. Texas gets through Oklahoma, and their schedule is very doable after that. They take down Oklahoma in October 10th. Then it's Baylor. Then it's Oklahoma State, which they have to go to Oklahoma State, but no fans, no big deal. They have West Virginia at home. They go to Kansas to see Les Miles' shoe polish hair. They play Iowa State, which is going to always a possible upset alert, and they take Kansas State out in December, and they're done. So I think they make their run. I think this is good for the Big 12 to get a team in the playoff. We know it's wanting to be due. I think my number 4 is Florida or Georgia. Whoever wins that game, the Florida-Georgia game, but they have to play Bama close in the championship game. If Bama blows them to pieces and beats them by like 20 or so, they're not going to get in there. I think then you would have, after everyone and all the loss and all the ways, I think then with no Big 12 and Pac-12, Big 10, Pac-12 counting, I think you would see the loser of Florida-Georgia at 5, and then I put the unranked UCF at 6. With it just being just a conference schedule, and the committee loves to do schedules, I don't think UCF has enough on the table of their schedule to say, hey, we beat everyone, unless they have their score is like what Miami did to Florida State. And they have to do that every week for the rest of the season. And they've already been doing that, and it hasn't gotten them anywhere. So now that Bama's not going to have beaten the Citadel this year, or Georgia's not going to have played a small school, or Florida's not going to play like UT Martin again, it's just the pure conference schedule. This is what we've argued for college football for the past couple years, and now we have that. So I think UCF needs to move conferences in order to really be considered. What conference that is, I don't know where they go. Maybe the ACC expands up a little more and lets them in, but I think they need to move conferences to get their shot, Connor.
We'll agree to disagree, and maybe they'll win and cover. Maybe they'll win and cover all their games.